A Luka Doncic game winner pushes the Lakers past the Nuggets in overtime. Are they finally showing signs of being a real contender? That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, no matter how or where you get your podcasts. We appreciate you helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the number one sports podcast network in this or any other known universe. I'm Brian Kamenetsky with Andy Kamenetsky. Covered the Lakers for nearly 20 years with The Athletic, with ESPN, with the LA Times. And in all that time, Andy, I, like most people, have never seen anybody throw the ball off the rim for that old on purpose missed free throw thing and actually have it work. But it worked for the Lakers on Saturday, and it worked in the most perfect way possible. It was a huge part of a 127-125 win that was equal parts thrilling and cringeworthy and strange. And it was just, there was everything in this one.
Yeah, it was really exciting. You obviously are referring to Austin Reaves in the closing seconds of regulation, gets the line, makes the first, intentionally misses the second, gets his own offensive rebound, and finds himself with a totally clear baseline and gets a pretty easy shot up, drop, sends it to overtime. At that point, Luka ends up hitting with I believe it was 0.5 seconds left, both 0.5 for regulation and overtime in terms of the last Lakers shot. And it's interesting too, with Austin hitting that, making the free throw thing work, which to your point, never happens. That moment was emblematic of the way a lot of guys in this game managed to overcome moments,
short show.
overcome mistakes that they made in this game. Or, Austin up to that point had just committed two terrible turnovers that could have jeopardized everything. DeAndre Ayton had a really great overtime after really not being particularly effective in the first four quarters, but he came up with huge plays. Luka Doncic had a game winner after a second quarter where there were a decent amount of missed shots, like the percentages went down in the second half. There's just so many different guys found incredible moments, or just like LeBron. When LeBron dove for that loose ball in the fourth quarter, like a true layout stretch fall to get that loose ball, and his 41-year-old body felt every single bit of that impact. It was emblematic of a team that made mistakes in this game. Their execution in the second half got sloppy. In all honesty, I thought they got away with a little bit of stuff in the first half as well, but they simply refused to give up on this game at all. And it's a game that I know they're going to be really excited about afterwards. It's a game that I think could be signaling them figuring some things out. The idea of that balance in the way the offense is going to work between Luka, Austin, and LeBron. Like these are things that have been difficult to figure out over the course of this season. And now a couple games in a row, it's looked not necessarily perfect, but everyone has looked like they've been more on the same page with it at the very least. Marcus Smart, massive in this game, just absolutely massive game. Just so much I think Laker fans can be excited about from this win, even if all of it, particularly the second half, was nowhere close to perfect. 17 points at one point in the first half of this game, and finished up 11 at the half. And it really felt like the Lakers were just catching the Nuggets on a night where they could not get anything going at all. And Jamal Murray, this may have been the worst game of his career if it was not top 5. He finished with 5 points, 1 of 14 from the field. At no point was he able to find any rhythm. He adding insult to injury.
Thank Marcus Smart for that.
Adding insult to injury, he fouled out. It was just
the intensity in this game. JJ Redick said before the game, it was going to treat it like a playoff game. And you mentioned LeBron laying out, and you mentioned obviously the play of Marcus Smart, and the way they were able to kind of come together defensively. Reaves, who had a couple really bad turnovers down the stretch, was also very good defensively late in the game, and Luka with some really strong defensive plays. I know you mentioned DeAndre Ayton, what he did on 4 or 5 possessions in that final, in that overtime. It's just
specifically against Jokic.
Jokic and Murray. He had to play where he was out on the perimeter against Murray and forced a miss. Like he was very, very good, very quick on his feet, and it was well done. After the break, we can talk a little bit too about the sort of what this means, like the implications of this game. We'll have a little bit of time to talk about, more react to what they did in this one, because it was inconsistent. The first 15 minutes were some of the best basketball they played this season by a lot. Slow bleed into halftime. Ugly third quarter. They actually fell down by 7 in the fourth, and managed to come back with under 3 minutes left. Like there was a lot going on in this game, but the implications of it are significant. So we'll do that next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like being in an in-game arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part not always so simple, and that's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs, with the fans. Regain your power. You can pull up the Game Time app, pick an upcoming NBA game, and have tickets locked in within minutes, all with the all-in price up front. No surprise fees at the checkout. There's no, wait, what was that charge? I don't remember paying for that. Game Time features seat views, which makes the decision of where to sit that much easier before buying. You're going to know exactly what the view is going to be. The app is super user-friendly, user-intuitive. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Locked On. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com.
Locked on Lakers is also brought to you by Robinhood. What if sports were traded like markets? And now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. You play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
And finally, Locked on Lakers is brought to you by Indeed. You got workplace chaos. The deadlines are stacking up. The inbox is overflowing. And there's a position that still needs filling, and it's open. You can't figure out who to bring in. And when the pressure's on and you need that right hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. So you're not just hoping, wishing that the right candidate magically stumbles across your post. Here's a stat that says it all. The minute that I'm going to be talking with you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check all the boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners to this show, you get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed. Sponsored jobs.
Okay, so like I said, this was a game where, the swings in play were sometimes really fast. The Lakers came out, just red hot. Their first 7 shots were threes. They made 5 of them. Reaves and LeBron in particular, Reaves and Luka in particular were very active and very accurate early. The Lakers seemed to replicate that formula, Andy, where, LeBron moves off the ball, gives Reaves and Luka a little more space to really get going, and strong start to the game. You wouldn't expect them to do that the entire game. You wouldn't expect Denver to miss as many shots as they did for an entire game, but the Lakers definitely hit some struggles in that lead up to halftime, certainly in the third quarter into the fourth. It looked like this could have become one of the more disappointing losses this season had they let it get away.
Yeah, and truth be told, even in the first quarter and change where the Lakers were absolutely dominating, I do think they were playing good defense, but also they got lucky in the sense that there were some open threes that Denver just missed. Like there was a sequence where Denver got 3 possessions.
3 offensive rebounds, right?
Right. I guess, 4 possessions, 3 offensive rebounds. And,
whatever. They missed 3 threes is what you're correct. Yeah, sorry, my fault.
And they all the looks that they missed were open. Nikola Jokic missed the third 3. He was so open, he actually hesitated for a second. It was like, when that happens, when guys are too open and it almost freaks them out. The Lakers got away with some stuff. Again, not for a lack of effort. I don't even think it was necessarily bad execution. It's Denver is a really good offensive team. They have even in a game where Jamal Murray's struggling, Jamal Murray and especially Nikola Jokic, they can move the ball extremely well, make them difficult to cover. So the Lakers managed to dodge a few bullets. The second half, I thought they actually just grew more careless, particularly offensively. They were making some inexplicably bad decisions, but this was a game where you had mentioned it could have been one of the more frustrating losses of the season because, forget just losing, blowing a 17-point lead in the first half, 11 at the halftime. You're talking about a game with tiebreaker implications.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second for sure.
Yeah, the Lakers now are up 2-1. That's the end of the series. So they have the tiebreaker against Denver. They also have the tiebreaker against the Wolves. They have to win both games next week against the Rockets to get the tiebreaker, but that is still a live possibility. If they had blown a game with tiebreaker implications like this after being up so big, particularly on a night where, again, Jamal Murray was so bad and so ineffective and just missing shot after shot after shot, eventually fouled out, this would have felt like a borderline unforgivable game to these guys. Like that type of result.
They'd have been kicking themselves.
They never, something I think we have seen, particularly of late with this group, but for a lot of the season, they don't give up on games. Like we have seen at times that they will let their foot off the gas, but they generally do not give up on games. And this was a game where they never stopped fighting. And that is in a lot of ways emblematic of the way they sent the thing into overtime with Austin's intentionally missed free throw, the offensive rebound, and the game tying shot. They essentially had to will the, for all intents and purposes, impossible into happening. But
it was a thing.
But you can't make that happen unless you're willing to do it.
You wouldn't expect them to give up on a game this significant, but to me, it's just it's also kind of finding. Wait, I'm not gonna lie. Like the missed free throw thing is luck. That there's a lot of luck to that. He could probably do that 50 more times and not replicate that exact bounce more than a couple times. Or the scenario around it. It was a well-designed play. The Lakers, he shot it to the open side, which is what they were, was trying to do. Ayton did a good job, tying up Jokic to make the the rebound. Like all of it was all well executed. It was just there's a lot of luck that goes with that. But they also made some shots, and certainly in the overtime continued to make plays. What I thought was interesting too is JJ mentioned this, like in a game like with this sort of intensity, it was good for them to go through it because, like you mentioned, Austin in a couple bad turnovers in that first segment, like those are turnovers. Especially, I thought some of their turnovers came when they were starting to get a little tight because they could the offense wasn't working. They were trying to force things to try to get something that happened a lot. Luka through LeBron couldn't handle it. Like they were just trying to force too many things. But like down the stretch, you get into these situations like the adrenaline starts flowing. It's a really tight game. You want to make a play. And those are sort of errors of commission, but they're also the kind of thing that you have to go through and do the mental training to like slow down. Can't make that pass. I want to make that pass. I want to do the awesome thing and lift the team, but I can't. And so they could have lost this game, but they didn't. That's going to happen a bunch of times over the course of a season. But in the end, you look up, Andy, and they've got the tiebreaker. They're a third seed. They own the tiebreaker over Minnesota. They at least have a chance to get it with these two games against Houston. They're in pretty good shape. And for a team that has been discounted all year long as not even really belonging in that second tier of contenders in the Western Conference after San Antonio and Oklahoma City, I do think they may be starting to change that. It's something I want to talk about a lot this week is like, at what point do you just have to accept the Lakers are winning a lot of games, particularly if the big three starts to play much better together and you get this version of DeAndre Ayton more or less the rest of the season. Like it's a different team than they were in January.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of people who just need to see more of it consistently against a stretch of good teams. Like I think the lack of acceptance, we'll get into it more over the course of the week, has just been the way the schedule breaks down. The Lakers
for sure.
had not had an opportunity to start beating good teams. Now they're starting to do that. They need to do it a little bit longer, but this is the first step in it. You have to beat those type of teams. There were, again, like so many different players, I think when you look back on this game are going to have moments that you remember, like, DeAndre Ayton, his overtime, 4 of his 9 points came in overtime. He had a sequence where he defended Jokic into a miss, and that ended up an Ayton basket on the other end. He blocked Jokic on one sequence. Unfortunately,
inexplicably didn't go pick up. I mean, I think 90% of the time that ball goes out just on the it's blocked out of bounds. I think he just assumed it was already out, and then when he saw it land, he was like, "Oh,
Yeah, yes, it was a bit of a brain cramp, but his overtime was so good, and I think it was important too. Like that was it came on the heels of regulation where he was not particularly impactful at all, but he spent a lot of the game.
He was fine. He had some good moments, some bad. It was hard to get going, I think it's fair to say.
Well, I mean, however you want to phrase it, he was not particularly impactful. But JJ mentioned afterwards, like it was a conscious decision to go with Ayton in overtime. Like he wanted someone. He said he wanted to keep. Obviously, Luka, LeBron, and Austin are going to stay on the court. He wanted Marcus out there. So it's really that fifth guy, whether you're going to go with Ayton, whether you're going to go with Rui, whether you're going to go maybe with Jackson. And he specifically wanted DeAndre out there to match up with Jokic, to also, I think, rebounding purposes, physicality. And a game like my point, even bringing it up with him being not particularly impactful in quarters 1 through 4, is that this was not an easy necessarily or obvious decision for JJ. And JJ decided to roll the dice on Ayton, and Ayton paid it off. Like Ayton really paid off that belief in it, like that decision. And, Marcus Smart plus 16 game high for either side, 21 points, 5 steals, 5 threes in this game. Like I had mentioned one of the things that jumped out at me in the Chicago win is just how much this team misses Marcus's urgency, like just the urgency that he brings over the course of 48 minutes. I think just by virtue of having him active.
Mm-hmm.
And then, man, Luka down the stretch, man.
That's
Luka,
his first game winner with the Lakers, isn't it?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it is.
Luka Karavnija, man.
Luka
Karavnija. That's Luka Magic. Luka
Yeah,
Karavnija, man.
Phenomenal. I mean, like, but it's just it is a reminder. Like all of these teams in this bunch that the Lakers are in have some flaws, and we'll talk about. Like, Denver made a big mistake. They sent the double, but they sent it in, from a direction that made it easy for Luka to go the other direction. He was away from the double. They didn't take a foul. They had one to give. They didn't. I think Spencer Jones might have been a little worried because Luka is very good at anticipating that and getting the shot up to make it. There was a play in this game where Luka was passing out, got fouled, and immediately turned back to put the ball up. Like, it's trickier than it looks, but like these are all, once you get past those top two teams, San Antonio and Oklahoma City have clearly separated themselves, but everybody else is like in a big pot, and the Lakers right now are playing better than any of those teams. Having won 8 of 9.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
And and now have beaten 4 really good teams in the last week and a half or whatever it is. So plenty to talk about from Monday's show. I'm excited to talk about Monday's show. It's gonna be fun. Like, people are excited. It is so much more fun to do this when people are excited and believe in what is going on. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you go hang out with over 37,000, darn near 38,000 subscribers. We'll see everyone on Monday.